my name is Jennifer Schertle, and what I'm going to be demonstrating today is a corn and crab bisque that I garnish with a little fresh squeezed lime juice. And the first thing we need to get going is you have to roast your corn, and I actually already started mine. It's back here in the oven, so it's going to be ready to go. But one thing I want to point out is you should always buy seasonal ingredients. And so corn isn't at the peak of its season right now, and so you have to be careful that you're not going to be sent home with something like this. And so always open your corn a little bit or feel it real good before you take it home. If corn just looks terrible at the grocery store, instead of using 6 ears of fresh corn like this recipe calls for, instead substitute about half a cup of corn, frozen corn, for each ear of corn. So it'll be 3 cups of frozen corn kernels, and your soup's going to taste just fine. This is my friend Noah, and this is my friend Caleb. They're future chefs in the making. You just want to pull all that off. Here you go, Caleb. Come on. Okay, so while our corn is roasting, I'm going to get our aromatics cooking. The aromatics we use for this dish, I like to add, infuse some Asian flavors sometimes in my cooking. So the onion that I use for this recipe is a shallot. They're very simple. They're very easy to peel. The cool thing about shallot is it's actually more closely related to garlic than it is an onion. So it's got a lot more interesting, complex flavor and aroma than just a regular old onion does. If you can't find shallots in your market, leeks would also go very well in this recipe. Okay, see? Thank you, Noah. Thank you so much. Big hand for Noah and Caleb. So this is a beautiful piece of corn, and whenever it's going into the oven to roast it, you just want to add a little olive oil. The olive oil is going to conduct the heat and make it roast more evenly. Stick it on your sheet tray and put it right in a 500-degree oven for about 30 minutes total, but you're going to want to rotate your corn pieces halfway through. Okay. So here I've got my shallot slicing up. After that, I'm going to mince up some garlic. And then my ginger. Whenever I mince garlic, when you buy garlic at home, it's probably going to have the paper on it. How you get that paper off is you just mash it, and the paper's going to peel right off. The other benefit of doing that is I don't even have to mince this right now. It's done. It just goes into a million little pieces, so you save a little bit of time that way. Man down. Now my ginger, all I'm doing is running my knife around the outside to peel it off. If you have really, really fresh ginger and don't want to waste any of it, it's a real good trick. You can take a spoon and just peel the skin right off, and it comes right off. And then I'm just going to thinly slice this at the same time. And so my pot's over here heating up, getting nice and hot. I'm going to throw these guys in first to make a little room on my cutting board. Here I've got some olive oil. So my oil's beginning to shimmer there. It's getting hot. That's the sound we're looking for right there. You want it to be nice and hot. So in goes our shallot and our garlic and our ginger. And those are going to be sweating down. If we're not trying to caramelize these vegetables, if we're actually just trying to sweat them, you can aid that process by adding a little bit of salt. In my home, I like to use sea salt, but use whatever tastes best to you. Whenever I add that salt, it's going to actually start drawing the moisture out of the onions and out of the garlic, and it's going to sweat much more quickly. Okay, the next aromatic that I mentioned is lemongrass. And lemongrass you can find just about anywhere. Now the bottom end of lemongrass is very woody. It's not really edible. It's not super important in this dish because we're going to pull it out, but I cut it off anyway. It's just a habit. And I just want a small stalk of lemongrass, and I wish you could smell this. Lemongrass smells so good. And what I do, instead of cutting up into small pieces, because I don't want it to go into the final product, I want to be able to fish it out, I just bruise it with the back of my knife, the not sharp end. Now you might be able to smell it. Oh, yes. Just bruise it up, and it goes right